Hey, welcome back to Unlicensed and Unbothered. I'm Diva.
And I'm Nuha.
Guys, so before we get into today's drama, we just want to say, in response to Mondays and Wednesdays episodes with Arnav, it's been it's been good, okay? The responses have been
Yeah,
good.
very
I
surprising.
I know, and like we loved those conversations, and clearly you did too.
Exactly. And because of that, we've got a little surprise for you. So we've got a little surprise segment in the works. We won't spoil it yet, but we think you're all gonna enjoy it.
Fingers crossed, but
Fingers crossed.
yeah, today is Friday, which means it's time for Am I the Drama? And this one's a family drama, right? Housework drama and bedroom drama too.
Yeah. So the OP sister is married to a guy who basically refuses to help around the house. Lovely. And so she's basically running herself ragged with like kids, dinner, bedtime, and he just comes home and zones out with like the gym or some sports he loves.
Cut to family dinner. Her husband orders food, right? OP's husband, right? He brings wine, he brings ice cream, the whole shebang, and then he clears the table. Fantastic. And when the brother-in-law tries to slip away, OP calls him out like, Colin, maybe if you help clear the table, Mary, her sister, might actually be in the mood later.
Guys, he didn't take it well. We all knew
Mm.
that. He went up about not wanting a transactional relationship, stormed out, and didn't speak to his wife for days.
Mm-hmm. Now, the big question is, did Opie go too far by calling him out, or was that exactly what he needed to hear?
Yeah, so that's today's drama. Let's get into it.
Real. So last week, my husband, M42, and me and my F42 went golfing. I'm assuming that's me. But I asked my husband how it was going, and he said good, but Colin, brother-in-law, 41, won't shut up about how him and Mary have like no intimacy. It's annoying. I was with my sister, F40, and all our kids at the time, so I asked her, what was up? She just rolled her eyes and told me that Colin won't help around the house, so by the time she gets home from work, dinner's on the table, she gets the kids ready for bed and school tomorrow. She's exhausted and just wants to read a little before bed. She said he'll come home from work and will work out or watch sports or find any excuse to be busy so he doesn't help. Flash forward to dinner later that night. Everyone's done eating, so my husband gets up and starts clearing the table. When Mary and I get up, he waves us off and says that he and Colin would do it since they golfed all day, and he knew how tired we'd be after being with the kids. This was after he had ordered the dinner, picked it up, and brought wine and ice cream from my favorite place to go with it. Colin, predictably, had said something, Colin predictably said he had something to do and went for a walk outside. I said, Colin, maybe if you help clear the table, then maybe Mary might be in the mood later. Colin lost his shit. Started ranting about how he's busy and how he doesn't have time to help, that he doesn't want a transactional relationship where he has to pay for sex with favors. It got pretty heated because I didn't back down. At one point, he pointed at my husband and said, What, you'll blow him tonight because he did the dishes? That's crazy. I explained that it wasn't about doing the dishes. It was that my husband helped out when he knew I was tired and had taken care of dinner and wine and dessert. Colin ended up storming out and driving away. He didn't come back to the house until after he left. Mary said he hasn't had a word to her since Saturday night. I feel kind of bad because it wasn't necessarily my place to say anything, and now Mary's marriage is paying the price. But on the other hand, maybe me saying something will be the wake up call he needs to realize he's not acting right.
Mhm.
Um, okay, before I continue on the
He's acting like a
update.
child.
Yeah, okay. I don't know how to frame this properly, but when I think about it, right, back in the day, you know, a woman used to do cleaning, cooking, whatever, and like men used to do fuck all day and then they got sex whenever. But you guys claim equality now, I find this really funny because some men, right, they're like, I want to be the providers, I want to be, in charge, blah, blah, blah. But they also expect their wives to work, take care of everything in the house, be a personal nanny, a personal maid, a personal this, that. And also, provide 50% of the income for the household, make it make sense, and we can clearly tell that she does a fuck ton. So I'm like, if you're not going to be pulling in enough where, like, let's say pulling in enough money where you can maybe afford a nanny, you don't get to be, calling the shots. I don't, I'm just saying, you're not man enough at all, Colin.
You are not. You are not.
Anyways, so for the update, they wanted to point out that the brother-in-law is married to her sister. It's not her husband's brother. 4 of us have had no problem discussing this kind of thing. Her husband's awesome, blah, blah, blah. He's kind and caring and the best partner I could have hoped for. We're a team. So much that when our first was born, the nurses made a comment about how we seem like old pros. Plus, he understands how important ice cream is. I like the guy already.
Me too.
Yeah. To those who DM me telling me that my husband isn't real because he does dishes, trust me, he's very much a real man. Anyways, I FaceTime Mary and I apologize for doing so. I explained my intentions to try and help point out to Colin that he had an opportunity in front of him to assist, but I also recognize how unfair I was, how unfair it was to her to do it the way I did. I also told her I was very sorry to suggest she would have any sort of intimacy because I essentially took away her agency. I didn't intend to tell Colin doing dishes would definitely lead to sex, but I recognize it did come across that way. She told me not to worry about it either, but she accepted my apology. She mentioned that Colin finally spoke to her and admitted he was very stressed out in work and just wanted to come home and not do anything for a while at night so he could unwind. They are working and ways for him to be, in ways for him to be a better teammate around the house without feeling more stress. I also apologized to Colin directly for overstepping a boundary. He said he was sorry for losing his temper and that he knows he lashed out of embarrassment for being called out in front of Mary and my husband. When we were talking, my husband poked his head in the room and offered to host a cousin sleepover for their kids soon, so Colin and Mary could have a night to just chill and be together. Both Colin and Mary tried to say it was unnecessary, but he insisted and they relented. He said he'd take all the kids out for breakfast as well because he'd take any chance to get breakfast at a diner. Like I said, this man is an absolute gift. I love that.
Can we just
applaud
her husband? Yeah. I wanted to applaud. Like, I want
to. Good job. I mean,
he's a good man, Savannah. Yeah. He's a good man. Please tell people, like, please understand the reference, because if you don't,
no, I
just do. No, I'm talking to the viewers.
Them, yeah, okay.
If you don't, stop watching, stop listening, because yeah. But here's the thing, right? Colin at the beginning, he kind of tried to twist it like helping at home is some transaction for sex. Like, hello, it's not. It's about partnership. Nobody says washing dishes equals, sorry, but guaranteed blowjob. Like, what are we saying? What we are saying is when your partner sees you are drowning and actually steps in, it does build connection instead of resentment. So respect is kind of like a turn on. It's not the damn dishes, like being respectful is kind of like a turn on to us. So for the guys listening, you're welcome. And honestly, like him blowing up like that wasn't about you being out of line. I think it was just about him getting called out in real time for something he kind of already knew that he was guilty of, and that's why he felt like embarrassed. And instead of like sitting with it and like kind of reflecting on it and solving it, he kind of deflected. And I'm so sorry, but sometimes the truth stings, right? But let's also kind of keep it real. Like, yeah, maybe girl, it maybe wasn't your place to jump in during dinner, especially when there was kids involved. I don't know if the kids went somewhere else or if they were still there,
I'm
but
assuming they were in a different room. I'm not. Yeah,
let's
just
hope that.
just
Let's hope
because
that.
they seem like good parents. I don't think they can be like, oh yeah, yeah, you can have sex
Yeah,
with them, blah, 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 in front of the kids, you know?
yeah. But that conversation probably should have been between maybe him and Marie, and you could have talked to Marie separately and they could have hashed it out on their own. But still, sometimes people need the mirror held up to them, even if it's like uncomfortable and like annoying. But I feel like you didn't say it to humiliate him, right? You said it because it was very obvious. Like your husband has just spent all day golfing with him and still came home and picked up the slack. That contrast couldn't have been louder. Like your husband did the dishes, got dessert, and what did Colin do? Just leave or didn't want to
Fuck
do
all.
anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, yeah, let's applaud your husband here. Like he's amazing. Like ordering dinner, picking up wine. I don't drink alcohols, but I know it's amazing. And I know a lot of people love drinking wine. And
Mm.
like grabbing your favorite ice cream, clearing the table, and honestly just later on offering to take all the kids for a sleepover so your sister and his and the brother-in-law could like reconnect. That's not less of a man. That's what a real man kind of looks like. And that's the model. He's the model. He's the perfect husband, like I would say, right? So Colin can either stay mad or take notes from your husband. But at the end of the day, it clearly shows that Marie deserves a teammate and not another child to manage, you know? She is not your mom. She is your wife. You married her, right? And if it took an awkward dinner moment to kickstart that realization, maybe that wasn't a bad thing after all.
Mm. I think I think, maybe wrong timing, but right intentions, right?
Yeah,
Like at the end of the day, like what? Isn't that like her sister?
yeah.
Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So if she was, my sister, I'd stand up
You read the
too.
story, so
Yeah, yeah, sorry. Yeah, hold on. Let me just double check. Yeah. Married to my sister. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If that was my sister, I'd fucking stand up for her too, Like you guys seem close. You guys are having like
yeah,
what? Family night dinners and everything. So I'm just like, you have every right to stand up for her because if you don't, who will? Right? It's
exactly,
because
exactly.
because no one's really stood up for her, this has been going on for yay long. Because
Mm,
if someone did, then this wouldn't be an issue anymore. Because you see how when he was called out, um, dandy, everything's, better already. Like he's working on
mhm.
being better. So it's kind of like sometimes I feel like a lot of people they just need that push. They just need that like,
They need
yeah,
someone to
this
call them out.
yes, and those boundaries and like, yeah, this isn't gonna work out. You need to fix your shit right now. Some people
Yeah,
just need that like, that yeah, that
push.
push, that shove, exactly. Um, I think what you did was good. I think um maybe wrong timing, but at the end of the day, it had to happen one way or the other.
It
So
did.
yeah, good job for that. Is there
Yeah,
anything else we've got to say?
I think I said everything I needed to
Yeah,
say.
in general, women or men or whoever, whatever relationship you're in, I think nowadays, with the whole like, oh, it's a toxic relationship, but we can't get enough of each other. I feel like that has been so normalized, the idea of like,
Hmm.
oh, just like keep taking it. And this shit was normal in like the fucking 1940s and 50s. We don't need to fucking normalize it again. There's a whole reason why we advocate for fucking equality and like,
Exactly.
women's rights and women's lives matter and all of that fucking shit. So we don't need to go through this. What sort, if you're in a relationship like this, what sort of, image are you portraying to your children? Like what's
Especially
right
if
and
you have a
what's wrong?
girl. Especially if you have a
Exactly.
or even a boy.
Exactly. Like
Or
how
just their children
why
in general.
yeah, you show, this is one thing we've spoken about before when it comes to like, getting abused or whatever. It is a terrible thing to go through. It is absolutely terrible. And there's like 100 hurdles that you need to cross before you can even think about leaving them. But you need to learn how to cross those hurdles because no one
Mm,
else will. And you know
mhm,
what? If when I see a person that had, let's say they have a family that will choose to like help them out and stuff, just like this person does, right? Let's say this
mhm.
person's situation was a lot worse. I see people like that and I think they're weak. I think women that continuously choose to go through something, or men, and they have a choice to move out. They're not living in a rural butt fuck nowhere with no education, nothing, like no rights, nothing at all. If you have people around you that'll support you, if you have ways to get out and you choose not to, you are not fit to be a parent at all. You need to realize your self-worth. You need to realize that those children have you to depend on and no one else. And the moment you start normalizing all these things being done to you, they start, their self-esteem and their self-worth and their self-respect starts withering away. And is that really the kind of what's the word? The kind of image you want portrayed of yourself to your children? I'm
Yeah,
done. That's
yeah.
all.
But that was greatly put. That was an amazing little rant. But yeah. But honestly, this story was kind of a lot. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like Colin really like showed exactly why his wife was exhausted in the first place.
And it's not really about like transactional intimacy, right? It's about literally just being a fucking partner. Help
Mm-hmm.
out, share that damn load, and maybe your relationship won't feel so fucking one-sided.
Exactly. And for the OP stepping in, maybe, as we already said, maybe it wasn't her place, but honestly, calling someone out is what makes them finally listen. And I think she did the correct
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? For you guys listening, right? What do you think? Was OP out of line for saying something at dinner, or did Colin need to hear it right then and there?
Yeah, and also, do you agree with the idea of domestic foreplay? Like, does helping with housework actually make intimacy easier in a relationship?
Mm-hmm. Send us your thoughts because we love reading your takes.
Yeah, exactly. So that is it for Am I the Drama? We'll be back next week with more chaos, more advice, and maybe even a surprise segment.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
before you leave, guys, do you have any drama, any decisions that you regret? Situationships that make zero fucking sense? Please tap the link in our bio and submit to you asked for this. We'll roast you, give you advice. Is it
You're
advice?
so daisy.
No, I'm so sorry. And tell you if you are right or wrong with so much love.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, guys, we gave you drama, delusion, and bad advice.
Craving more? Good. You know where to find us. Consider this your new addiction. Bye.
Bye. Mwah.